Doing great so far. We're going to get some more images in here. I'm going to click on my old rocket. We don't need this anymore. Let's get rid of him. You don't have to worry about saving him, but you should be saving this image. We've got some nice layers in. You put a lot of work in. Let's make sure we have this saved. So we're going to File, Save, and we want to save this as a PSD. I'm putting it in my folder as Comp1 PSD Photoshop file. We want to keep the layers, save, and just say OK. And let's go to open our other character. File, Open, or I like to use hotkeys. Let's get used to that. Command O. And we're going to choose Thor PNG. That distinction of PNG is going to be very important. Okay, Thor PNG. Let's open him. You notice he looks like he's on a checkerboard, like some kind of Italian cafe or dance floor. What that is not actually a background. That's Photoshop's way of saying there is no background. So you might be wondering, why did you put me through all these selection options when you could get images with no backgrounds? You're kind of right. Maybe it was a punk move. But the thing is, you got to get used to those selection tools because you might not always find what you're looking for without a background. And I'm going to show you how to find those images without a background soon. But let me show you what I mean by having no background. We're going to go to the Move tool. Let's drag this canvas down here so we can see both our comp and Thor. Here is our layer for Thor. Again, if you don't see layers, that is Window, Layers. I'm going to click and drag Thor into this comp. All right, that's great. Let's go. Let's close out Thor. And it's wonderful that he has no background. I'm going to get rid of this one. And let's double click on the word layer 2 and name that Thor. It's good to get in the practice of naming your layers because you might end up with something like 50 layers depending on how complex your document's getting. I'd like to fill my screen, so I'm going to hit Command 0. I'm actually going to drag this down a little bit because I want to scale these guys, okay? Right now, we've got Rocket behind Thor, as he should be, being protected. But maybe you think Rocket should be the one running and gunning first. So you can click on the Rocket layer and drag him in front of Thor. I'm going to move him over to the right here. And I'm going to move Thor over a bit. They're taking up a lot of space, so I think we should scale them down. So you might recall from the beginning with space, we had Edit, Transform, Scale. And we want to scale proportionately, so I'm going to hit the Option key. And while hitting the Option key, I'm going to scale Thor down a bit. Because remember, we're going to have more in this poster. And then I hit Return when I'm done. Bring him here. Now, Rocket being in front of Thor's cape, it might make sense if he's closer in the foreground to be larger, but let's just, for the sake of practice, remember that Rocket is smaller than Thor and we want to shrink down Rocket. Now, if I were to hit Command T, I could begin transforming right away without going Edit, Transform, and Scale. See, Command T will give you free transform. But I'm on the Thor layer. So you got to make sure you're targeting the right layer. So I'm going to click on the Rocket layer. I'm going to hit Command T, and I get those handles again. I'm going to hold down Option and get one of these diagonal corners, and let's shrink Rocket down. So that is scaling and transforming. Likewise, if you move outside of the handle, the arrow here bends and you can rotate. That is scaling and transforming. Command T. All right, and I'll move him a little bit off the canvas here. If you ever wanted to move two things or more together, you can click one layer, hold down Shift, get another layer, and they'll both move together. You can transform them both together by hitting Command T, and now they'll both transform. Hold down Option, scale them up, we could shrink them, and I can hit Return. If you want to leave them locked together without permanently merging, there is a little chain here that chains them together. Notice chains showed up, and we can now move them together. All right. I'm going to unlink them for the moment, though. All right, let me just show you really quickly what I meant about those transparent images. I'm going to launch a browser, and let's search for Thor Infinity War. All right, and we're going to go to Images in Google, and now we see all various versions of Thor. Bizarre, some legit, some not, some costumes, some toys. Okay, we're going to choose Tools, and under here we see Color, and you'd want to choose Transparent. Transparent should give you images that are PNGs, which have no background behind them, which saves you a lot of work. Having said that, and another important feature is the usage rights. It's nice that you look for labeled for reuse, so you have images legal for you to use. All right, wonderful. But we're just practicing, so at the second, I'm not too concerned about that. But when you're getting official, make sure you get into the practice of labeled for reuse. All right. Great job. On to the next.